My wife distanced herself from me, saying that she no longer needed me. I installed devices to gather evidence of infidelity and… My wife is Sarah, 33. I am Mike, 37. We haven't had sex in 8 months. Our 2 boys are 4 and 2 years old. We also currently are building a house in Austin, Texas. I prefer to address problems right away. I'm not someone who enjoys seeing the world burn. To find out what occurred, I started talking with Sarah. Why she stopped embracing, kissing, and chatting with me. I questioned her. Why did she start to consider my hand touching her body? Why did she cease showing any kind of closeness to me? She first didn't want to communicate. It was a really difficult cover to breach, but at last she opened. I discovered that I basically am not enough for her. She is doing everything alone. She depends on me not at all. She is the decision maker, the house's trousers wearer, and she is handling the kids. She declared she would be better off by herself. Though not strictly speaking an introvert, I am one. Though I found that very startling, I assured her I understood her suffering and would work on my conduct so she wouldn't have to be worried about it. I love her so much that I would rather agree and avoid starting a conflict. Still, I have my own mind, and occasionally my ideas prevent me from falling asleep. I came to this group after noticing a serious red signal. Though I naturally agree her claims are far from accurate, I really think I match the standards of a decent spouse. From home, I work 7 to 8 hours. After that, I look after my boys. I feed them, play with them, bring the elder one to the swimming pool, put them asleep, etc. If necessary, I also get up middle of the night. Apart from the children, I give household maintenance first priority. She prefers to clean since I'm not very good at it, so I do the dishes, groceries, light cleaning, vehicle and home maintenance, etc. I take great effort to simplify her life. With 2 little sons, I do understand it's challenging. Actually, I am not a proactive person. Some individuals cannot sit on a couch for 5 minutes without considering what to do next, what to mend, what business to launch, what duties remain to be completed. Her father acts in like manner. Not me. Once the day is finished, kids are sleeping, work is all done, and the house is cleaned. I would rather relax by watching a movie or playing some video games. Furthermore, not someone who could launch their own company is me. I prefer to be instructed what to do and perform effectively in my profession. I am best in this one. Many people enjoy that, hence I'm not embarrassed about it. I don't dream of having millions in my bank account. I don't pursue any outstanding job. Simply a normal, attractive man searching for a solid salary and a nice family. She began to have problems with it, even though she had been contentedly married for 5 years and cohabitated for 6 years before that. The conversation took place in November. After that, I started working against my nature, doing some proactive chores like extra shopping, additional house repairs, generally not sitting on my butt in the evenings. Not rest. She enjoyed that, but it had no effect on her treatment of me. I so had to start a second speech. She agreed after hearing it, so I had to choose a therapist. She showed no enthusiasm in that. She told me several difficult things throughout the chat, like she married sisters and me just to please her parents so we can have a large happy family and produce beautiful children. She married me since she was fascinated, not in love. She also mentioned our marriage during a meeting she had with another preacher. Still, I found a decent therapist. We are scheduled to meet 4th. We discovered that each of us speaks a distinct love language. I need contact. She needs work done. Still, she doesn't touch me since we started our counseling. Not hugging. Following the 2 sessions, I asked her whether she liked it and how she felt. Her response was that she finds it awkward to share our personal information with a stranger. The therapist was astounded to learn we hadn't been sleeping in the same room 8 months ago. Sarah clarified that she is sleeping on the bed with the kids, hence there is nowhere for me. The therapist said that if there is no place on the bed, visit IKEA and get a single bed, then position it next to the main one. It is a somewhat negative example for the children not to let a spouse into the bedroom. I did just that, bought it, assembled it, and am sleeping there right now. Strange thing is, I still feel like I'm sleeping alone. I'm far to the right, the lad's in the middle, she is much to the left. My wife somewhat revised her testimony from the start of the problem. She began complaining about her depression brought on by constant sitting with the children at home. She said all those things, she told me, too sensitive. Though I would never say something like that to her under any situation, I suppose I had to trust her. She lately returned to work. We got a babysitter. Her conduct changed only in that we started to chat. I am her spouse as well as her friend, hence there is no intimacy. It does not seem as if things will improve, not showing any indicators of it. She doesn't give a damn about the upcoming counseling appointments. I have to keep arranging them. Regarding intimacy, she informed me she has been doing it simply because I wanted it, and she seldom needs it at all. I came across as an abuser. She never was thrilled about making love. For me, we had it once a week and was good. Though it might have been more often, it was good. We had sex 2 times this year. Both times it was pity-duty lovemaking. One was at the start of January since I turned 65. I now have to have a birthday to be laid. The other occurred after therapy when I started, but she merely laid on her back covering her chest and waited for me to finish. That caused me to lose want for it. Not what it's about here. She merely responds, "That's what I am. If you don't like it, just leave me." Sarah once tried to phone her ex-boyfriend 4 times in a succession around 11 p.m. She attempted to reach him, not spoke with him. We used to have an app with our 2 numbers stored, so I knew since I could see incoming and leaving phone calls for each number. I then started to go insane. Why 4 times at 11 p.m. is my wife contacting her ex? I decided to review her mails on her laptop. Though for me it was justified, I felt horrible. She is acting strange. We are married, have children, and she wrote him a note following 4 calls. "I'm going to keep calling until you pick up and talk to me as a normal human being." She lied when I asked her about it. She claimed not to be phoning him. Hence I showed her the app including her outbound calls. She had nothing else to do but confess she did attempt to get to him. She said she was calling back when I asked her why. Knowing she also wrote to him following a call, I questioned her whether she had written anything to him subsequently. She denied it. I then showed her the letter she penned to him, and she clarified that he became intoxicated and called her, beginning to spew some gibers. She hung up and instructed him to buzz off when she heard that. She felt horrible about it then and tried to contact him 4 times because he wasn't picking up. She eventually produced what she had written. He avoided responding. About that, I'm not sure what to believe. It occurred at the same period she stopped being close to me. From her perspective, it's neither strange or negative that she hid it from me. Any interaction with an ex sends a negative signal for me. It's unacceptable. Is she breaking rules? For 8 months, we had no intimacy. This is when the calls took place. I appreciate your understanding all around. I first found it hard to believe how many of you said she is actually cheating on me. It seemed like some science fiction, something I would see in a movie. Maybe something my wife would never do. Still, today everything changed. It came to be an actuality. Though I feel dumb to be simply another person like that, I suppose this is how life is nowadays. Though I knew I promised to contact her ex and speak with her family, I chose to back off and act casual. Is it amazing how simple that was? Not even a GPS. All I did was put a voice-activated recorder in our automobile. It was there solely for 3 days from now. She drove to work, then to a gym, and lastly she phoned him, or he called her twice. I heard every word but not exactly who phoned whom. That was a phone video conference. I heard everything I needed. Things about sex, things about each other's life. 9 years ago, when we first met, they spoke like Sarah and me. Same attraction, jokes, etc. Something I hadn't had with her for some time. Concerning vacation planning. This August, she wants to see him. Well, she set 2 years as his window for returning to our nation. I find it hard to believe. Now I'm after listening to this garbage for 1 hour. I have to sort through certain stuff. I have an attorney meeting next week, etc. I wanted to express thanks, you raised my awareness. I wouldn't have bought the voice recording device if it hadn't been for you. To think I felt guilty putting it in the car. God, my dear. I'll be changing. I need to relax right now and keep considering my children and what she has done. October last year saw their start of it. She changed her behavior 2 months later, and I noticed. My aging father will be under my care in another city for the whole following week. She will therefore not be reporting for work for a week. Rather, she will utilize my house office. She will also be most likely chatting with him in the workplace. It began in October last year, so I have been absent for a considerable period. She wants not to spend any time with me around the flat we rent right now. She visits her parents' house, friend's place, etc. She always has some obligations. When we put our children to sleep, she even lies in bed or goes to sleep. That all is told by the recording. She says she wants to see him, loves him, and have sex with him. They discuss his intentions extensively. She informed him she would be his wife, and that she would be leaving me shortly. She also told him she wanted to have vacation with him. She even mentioned his preferred lovemaking position. Thus, indeed, they engaged in intercourse. That's all there. She doesn't know really that I know. Her friends and relatives just believe we are in a passing crisis. They have no idea. She is Catholic, every Sunday at church among 3 sisters. Our little town, with 20,000 residents, is though it's not yet completed. We recently constructed a house. She will most likely file for divorce rather soon. She is suffering with me in the apartment, and I can tell she is unable to manage it anymore. Her whole lack of communication and body language reveal this. She wants me out soon so that there will be some time when I'm gone. Then within 2 years the affair partner will relocate to the tiny town to live with her in our house and my 2 little boys. She said on the tape that she offers him 2 years to return to our nation. People will not object as they will realize she needs a father for her children. Her first lover is the affair partner. They spent 6 years together before she married me. 10 years of dating have gone between us. Although she lives overseas, the affair partner comes here often. I refuse to be performed in such manner. I now have an attorney. I will be with him shortly about this. Showing everyone pieces of the recording will essentially ruin her reputation. Meeting with the attorney, I discovered some quite important information. It turned out that going to burn her world away would not be that wise. We have kids, hence I have to co-parent with her for the next 14 or 15 years. Another reason is I love her family greatly, and I want to keep them out of the divorce as witnesses free from interference. The children are tiny, and must live with their mother in the small town, 1 hour away from me in Houston. Hence I would not be able to get custody of them either. I would be dad with every other weekend. The kids require decent living circumstances, and won't have another place to live. Hence, ultimately, I would not be allowed to sell our house. Her dad owns the apartment they now inhabit. It is temporary. Though horrible as it seems, that is American reality. The attorney emailed her paperwork following our talk. Their delivery was scheduled right following Easter. It lasts 2 days in the US. It was Sunday and Monday here. I pretended everything at the table. Drink really helped. I took yesterday, Tuesday, off from work, and was looking after my 1-year-old kid. She started her job in Houston. My brother helped me gather everything from the apartment and load it into his car in the interim. The postman sent the divorce paperwork, essentially an invitation to mediation so we could divide things like civilized people and divorce peacefully. According to the report, she is seeing this person, and the divorce would follow from her connection. When establishing child support, etc., the proof I have will be leverage. I told her I knew everything when she first started living here. I have unquestionable evidence. It really hurts me, and she should get in touch with my attorney. I handed her the divorce paperwork and departed to see her parents. She began, of course, asking what I know and how I know and denied everything. Though they were in astonishment, her parents trusted me. Like my attorney told me to do, I videotaped everything. It began with my inquiries on whether they consider me to be a loving parent and spouse. They approved. Today she cannot use them as witnesses against me in court. They believed me, recognized that she had done a terrible thing, and she wrecked their, mine, and our children's life. I left to Houston after appreciating their kindness. I gave one acquaintance a call in the meanwhile, and he handled sharing the word to her pals. 2 hours later, my brother-in-law contacted me to let me know she acknowledged she had been cheating on me with the affair partner, but she denied having real intercourse with him. She wrecked our family, he said me. Everyone is on my side. Her sister visited my soon-to-be ex-wife and told her how wicked she is. Ultimately, though, he assured me that all could be salvaged and that he had strayed on his wife. She pardoned him, and today they are very happy. Her father then phoned and also said it's entirely her responsibility. She doesn't know what she's done. He informed me he will quit financially supporting my soon-to-be ex-wife, and the affair partner will never enter his house. He even phoned the affair partner, but he missed. He remarked at the end he thinks it can be saved. At last, her other sister texted me to let me know she totally supports me, but once more she thinks it can be saved. That bothers me much as I don't think it can be saved. I am optimistic about it. My motives are insufficient to abandon her, so I'm worried they will stick to the reality I have no type of a lovemaking tape of them. All that, in relation to the lack of feelings toward me for 8 months, I am showing you how your life with me will look like. I am offering you 2 years to return here. Moreover, she informed me she never stopped loving him right after the incident. For me, this is evidence sufficient. In what way do you suppose? She is, however, creeping back right now, just as several of you highlighted previously. She is writing me messages like, "I didn't know what I was doing. I can't imagine living without you. I'm so sorry for everything I've done. I'm waiting with the kids for your comeback," when her family questioned her about it. She also stated she didn't intend to tell me she loved him constantly. I am not sure. I don't have the real lovemaking footage, hence I feel like I jumped the gun with the divorce. They are unaware that all they know is that I have evidence, and she is not owning to having sex with him. Given he is in the Netherlands, that makes sense. Nevertheless, he might have visited her here. She began sporadically writing to me on Messenger. "I can't imagine my life without you. I love you, and only you. Some pictures of our children with the message, we're waiting for you and love you very, very much. And that is all. Every message was the same. She hasn't phoned me once or visited me once in 6 weeks. She had several times, physically drove past my parents' house where I now live, just messenger texts in between. We also saw each other a few times trading children. She just hello and bye without trying to apologize or anything. Her family began interacting with me far more often. Her mother sent me a dozen SMS with some links to Christian pages teaching about forgiveness. Her father phoned me twice. Her one sister contacted me apologizing and said it's all because some bad spirit has seized my wife. Her other sister told me my wife destroyed our family and she doesn't expect me to return to her. Even my brother-in-law dropped over to grab me for some beer. He was only discussing what happened and what might happen going forward should I not return, not attempting to be very convincing. He wanted me to come back, sure, but he wasn't pressing. Basically, all of these conversations were like, "We can't believe she did what she did. We would like you to come back to her, but we understand if you won't do it." However, the day arrived when I made up my mind, and my lawyer informed her that I decided I'm not able to forgive her totally, and I want a divorce. Now we're waiting for my lawyer's reply after she submitted my demands of the divorce. Her sister started criticizing me and genuinely warned me I would ruin their marriage while I was waiting for their response. She said quite precisely that my wife began all this by acting rather selfishly, but right now she is terribly regretful. She is sobbing and wishing she could go back in time. Now it is me, the selfish one, who will divorce her and wreck the marriage. I could call off the divorce and just come back to see my children. Therefore, it's on me right now. I would return back to raise my 2 boys, not to see my wife. She explained to me how angry I am right now, and how it will just change with time. I should simply swallow it and keep living with my wife, she said. She presented this divorce as my payback on her, but she clarified that this is truly retribution on our children too. I cannot understand it. Though it's still startling, I knew from you that it's going to happen, that the scenario is going to start changing, that her family would turn on me. For a minute today, I felt ashamed that it is all my fault that my wife treated me like garbage for almost half a year, that she decided to forsake me physically and emotionally, that she wanted to leave me. Indeed, they really swing me strongly. Though I will not change my opinion, it's quite difficult. There will be a divorce. Their story seems to be one in which I am the man leaving the children. Presenting my parameters of getting back together, which she most likely won't agree to, I was intending to demolish this argument. Though I love her not personally, I would do it for the children as they are well loved. Not marriage, but only a relationship. Divide money. She moves with the kids to Houston, where I reside, from her hometown. GPS in the car till, in her old age, she ceases driving. Regular phone check. All that after I have 8 months of dates with arbitrary women. I wouldn't hesitate to lie to her during the relationship as well. There is no marriage anyway either, should she discover. Not that I care. In what way do you suppose? Simply a thought. Nothing major here. I most likely won't do it either, but I have no other notion to silence the family about my leaving the children. Small children like ours have to be close to their mother in the US should a divorce take place. She lives in a tiny town 1 hour away from me, hence I cannot have them. The children have kindergarten and nursery there. 50-50th sharing of them is not possible. I'll be an every other weekend parent with unrestricted access anytime I so wish. Though terrible and agonizing as well, it is what it is. 4 months have passed since the day I met her, sent divorce papers, and relocated to Houston, an hour from the little community we shared together. Sleeping on the couch in their living room, I share quarters with my parents. The dining table became a work entertainment venue, and every chair surrounding had my clothing hanging on. I spend 7 hours working from home. After that, I generally assist my elderly parents, 85 and 74 years old, with daily housework. I drive to doctor visits and choose groceries. Apart from that, I visit the gym or movie theater to get away from bad memories of what happened. Every weekend I visit my children. She leaves them off. I drive them back. The weekends are really fantastic. When I'm among them, I really am joyful. I had a paternity test. The lads are my. At least not confused here is. Regarding divorce conditions, the situation is somewhat hazy nowadays. Living with my parents makes it difficult to predict what will happen, as I am a grown man, father of 2 without another place to live. My wife is taking over the house's mortgage, hence I demand a large sum of money from her as well. She consented to the mortgage takeover, but said that she only gave 1/3 of the money I need, so reflecting the amount I spent developing the property. The truth is, I did not start this conflict. I need somewhere to live and am not guilty of anything. The discussion among our lawyers goes on since 1/3 of the money I need is not going to enable me to buy a house. She wants to keep the house, hence she is providing me the little amount. But from our previous conversation I discovered she could be pressured to sell it. She should be acting in this way right from start. She won't be unable to pay me and the mortgage. We shall see how it turns out. Agreements are necessary on other financial matters like child support money. She demands much too much. She also says I should be the one picking up the kids from the little town and driving them back at the conclusion of the weekend. Time and gasoline are plenty here. She should drop them off, and me should drive them back. She is therefore the one in charge of all that. But simultaneously she is eager to debate divorce terms. Her sister asked me to the communion of her daughter. That was last Sunday. I traveled so I could spend more time with my lads. Every family member is well informed that my choice is definitive, hence they did not even try to discuss it with me. After the ceremony, I merely watched over my babies as everyone ate and drank around the table. But once in a while, my wife questioned me whether my choice is really definite. Looking at her, I softly assured her, yes, it is final, and nothing is going to change it. She proceeded with how really regretful she is, and how much she regrets what she has done. I am here now for my boys to spend as much time with them as I can. She informed me she went to an exorcist, gave him every aspect of the affair, broke off contact with the affair partner, and turned it over to God. I said that I don't give a damn about her pastor, and that I should be the one she should be telling everything to. It was rather ridiculous at that point, but I said, okay, if you're truly remorseful, I am now here giving you one chance to tell me all the truth. Tell me how many times you had sex with him. She said, she didn't. That was only one such case. I told her I know she had it with him. To me, sex over video chat is the same. She couldn't even count the times she had engaged in it with the affair partner. I then asked her, how do you see us getting back together? I said, remember, you didn't just cheat on me. You cheated on our 2 little wonderful boys, too. It broke her. She began screaming in front of our children that it is the last time I told her something like that. It's hilarious since her sister has informed me that all of this causes daily agony and tears in my wife. She is a real two-faced lady, still lying to me while yet sobbing in front of the family. Her family couldn't do anything about it, so she even informed me she would be with the affair partner if she so desired. Like I should be grateful that she stopped things with him, because she is in charge of not being with him. At last our lawyers agreed, and the divorce will arise soon. She is taking over the incomplete house. Right now, she owns the mortgage alone. The residence serves the children. I want anyone to tell me in the future that I sold the house as payback on her. I also desire not to reside in her little town, an hour's distance from Houston, where I am presently. Still, I am putting what I am into, and that is not particularly poor. The child support amount is not terrible either. We also decided that she would be leaving the kids every other weekend at my Houston house. I will just have to drive them back. Now I see my children practically every weekend, but that is insufficient for me. It hurts so badly. Occasionally I can't bear it. I simply cannot let my 2- and 4-year-old sons live without a father due to a dysfunctional lady. I only wish I could have them, but U.S. laws make it unattainable. Either something to survive or starting traveling there in the middle of the week will be necessary. Regarding her, she constantly emailing me that she loves me, wishes she could turn back time, and that her daily actions cause her anguish. She softened to the point that she even told me she no longer sees checking her phone as treating her like trash. She said I could do it all the time and let me know. She informed me we may leave the little town for Houston. If I would want her back off, she pledged to tell me everything about the affair, every element of it. She came to apologies to my parents. There has to have been change. Someone has to have informed her something. She truly shows some regret and is ready to do anything now. I love you, and I'm sorry for everything. Things like that swing me and don't help with the healing process. I know you don't believe it, and I understand it. One day I hope I will have an opportunity to prove my love to you. If I told you her remarks don't impact me, I would lie. It's enticing to see my boys growing up in Houston instead of the little town. She did what she did even though I honestly think she struggles alone with 2 little boys. She betrayed it all by cheating. Though the wound healed quite slowly, I reasoned that things will improve with time. I will follow the course. I am going to stop here. One day, perhaps when I shall be at last content. D-Day was April 7th. After almost half a year, this is my perspective. These kind of difficult circumstances call for daily answers to the same queries. For me, the questions are, still do I love her? Could I return to her only for the children? Should I return to her little town of residence and complete construction on the house? Knowing what she had done, Would I be at peace with myself in 5 to 10 years? At this moment, the clear no without any doubt answers all these queries. That sums it up. Though I would like to visit them every day and love my children greatly, I am unable. Though she wants me back, I would like to love her, but I am unable. She merely closed her lips when I informed her the family is a mother, father, and children, rather than a silly edifice. I realized then that there is no us anymore. Everybody agrees exactly. All this does not have any intermediate ground. Since the affair began in the little town, I clarified that I will not be living here going forward. He phoned her after seeing her driving past on the street. I carried on, completely unable to finish building a house just 1 mile from the family residence of her affair partner. I won't spend another day in my life worried about her maybe running across him someday. He lives overseas but pays visits to family 2 or 3 times a year. The talk then stopped. I find the little town distasteful. She finds Houston unacceptable for her residence. That sums up it. Here's a little sample of her way of approaching life. We decided that she would preserve the structure for the children, while I would just take the money I placed into the house. She now even has trouble with it since one clause of agreement says she cannot sell the house till the children are 18. She will have to divide the money she would obtain from selling the house evenly between her and me otherwise. She argues this is unfair, as she intends to pay for the house with her own money, and in case of selling it I would get half of a much more costly completed property. She said that she cannot forecast her life, and so she would not even consider selling it. I cannot believe her. Right now, I'm leaning toward just selling the structure alone. The knowledge that I would be selling the house intended for my children bothers me. What does that imply? She is not in a position to even require me to be so exact right now. She asks me to help her to clarify the matter. I believe there could be someone else involved. I'm worth more than a messenger conversation, and we'll talk soon, I answered her. Moving to Houston and breaking all contact with the affair partner and his family is my only 2 prerequisites for this marriage to endure. She can clearly see the second one. The first one is a barrier she cannot go over. She is sorry for what she has done. However, we will never have a lovely large house there, so even tiny flats are rather costly to rent. She is not ready to go to Houston. She claims our children have it easy in the tiny town. Since her father built the flat she presently resides in, she merely pays the rent for it. She would spend 4 to 5 times more for a smaller apartment in Houston, then pay expenses plus rent. She also has all the friends and relatives to accompany children after school. Indeed, that is all. She finds it handy as the children seem content. She remarked that only me would be content about moving if we were to do so. It would satisfy my ego like food. She is right about this, hence the issue is merely difficult. We pay practically nothing for her sister's kindergarten in the little town even. She just placed me in an unfeasible dilemma. I stick to it. Though I will not reside in the little town, I too find it quite illogical for them to be moving. We decided that in this situation, I would simply keep visiting and spend as much time with the children as I could. Every other weekend, I will keep driving them to Houston. She informed me she would only wait for me and that she will be single going forward. She will not have anybody else. I not really care and find it difficult to believe. Perhaps it's good since the children will just have me as a father figure instead of some arbitrary man I don't know. She expressed certain things throughout our talk that amply demonstrated her lack of regret. She stated she didn't have time with 2 kids running around the house when I questioned her why she hadn't even given me a call once throughout our separation. Just sent messages. She informed me she would never talk about the incident again and would not provide me any further information about it should I ask. She finishes with it. She won't discuss anything more with me because I informed her family some information she didn't want me to tell them. After learning to live by myself with little time for my children, I feel like dating once more. Actually, some years ago I began utilizing dating apps. I find a good number of matches, and scheduling a date with a decent female is not problematic. I previously had 2 to 3 short-term romances generally, but sadly they had to stop as I was always occupied with the kids anytime they wanted to see me. Every other weekend is absolutely empty, but I wish they lasted more. I always lied, saying I had some meeting or anything, and they took it as a lack of interest on my end. How then do I negotiate this? Right now, I don't mention that I'm almost divorced with 2 kids when I meet a new female. This is the only approach the second or third date may occur from. Exists any way to fix this? Should I be honest from the start? Is there any likelihood a female would remain with me? Has anyone else found themselves in a such circumstance? Though I would love to be in a meaningful relationship eventually, right now I do not particularly feel like having one.